Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the Two Comma Podcast. Today with me is one very special guest that I want to introduce to you that you can learn a lot from, and all the contact informations about him are down in the description. So, with me today is Vlad Herescu. I hope that I pronounced it right. Vlad, your opinion about the current dropshipping Shopify situation in 2022, is it worth to even start it right now? How did you even get along with the Shopify dropshipping e-commerce? I would like to feel your first story, but how did you even feel about the Shopify dropshipping state in 2022?
First of all, Alex, thank you for having me on your podcast. This is awesome. So we'll go straight into it. The way I got into drop shipping was as anybody that's 16 years old, 17 years old, they're trying to kind of start their own business online. And I found out from this guy on YouTube, I don't remember his name exactly. It's like this way that you can sell products without ever holding any stock, without having to deal with shipping, without having to do all these things. And I started YouTubing it. And at the time I was in Europe because I was born in Romania. And at the time I was living in Europe, and the situation with doing like the legalities of doing a business as a minor in Europe were a bit shady, and I had to get my parents involved, all that. So I kind of dropped it for 2 years until I moved to the United States. And then in 2016, I moved to the United States to start learning advertising, branding, and whatnot. And as soon as I started doing that, I opened up a Fiverr account like as a freelancer because I gained some writing skills, I gained some sales knowledge, and I was like, okay, let's start doing some of this stuff for people. And surprisingly, most of the first people that came up to me and they're like, hey, we want you to write our website or write some product descriptions or whatnot, were people that were doing e-commerce. And I'll never forget, my first client was
Yeah,
some
share that
skincare.
story. That
Skincare, yeah. So it was a
okay.
skincare brand. I don't remember their name. It was like like on dropshipping, you can white label stuff. So they just drop their name on a product.
Yeah.
And it was a skincare stuff that was basically made with some stuff in Switzerland. I don't know. It was pretty weird. And that was my first task. I wrote like 20 headlines for them. I wrote some product descriptions and a full website for like $10 because that's how you start on Fiverr.
Of course.
Everybody starts somewhere. And I was like, damn, people are still doing it. And I remember that was 2017. And I remember when I had first started looking at dropshipping, so 2 years before, 2015, this question that you're asking me right now was already being asked on YouTube. Like, is dropshipping dead? Because everybody's starting, everybody started this wave, everybody started their shop. And just like crypto, everybody thought that it was too late to get into it,
Yeah.
right? And as we've learned, it was not late at all. So as I said, I started doing this like different brands, working with them. And so I started learning about e-commerce and about drop shipping from the point of view of a copywriter, of a sales copywriter. So instead of learning about the business and the back end of it, I started learning about how to sell these products. But I also kind of understood, because I had access to see the conversions, like how many people actually bought the products using the copywriting that I wrote. I started seeing what products were working per year and then comparing them to like trends online, right? So
Yeah.
you use Google Trends to see what like people are searching for, and then you would check that against the projects that would come like for copywriting. And I'll be like, okay, there's a correlation between these two. So
Yeah.
I went through like I saw some of the people take ahead the fidget spinner. Do you remember those times? Like the
Yo,
fidget spinner was
that was a
huge.
massive trend. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, that was huge. And I got people that got into it before the massive thing, and I was like, who's going to play with it
Okay.
before the
So
trend took off?
okay. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna cut you real quick. How do you even explain a trend such as fidget spinner? Can you find like scientific reason or anything at all why so many people were hooked up to the fidget spinners? Of course, it's satisfying, but why it went so much? Why the sales went so much with the fidget spinners? What are some of the biggest trends that you have experienced, good and bad? What are some of the products that you thought maybe are going to perform extremely well and you expected your client's product to
Yeah.
perform extremely well, and what are some of that didn't?
So, and I'll make sure to come back to what's the state of drop shipping today, because
Yeah.
I do want to tell you about that too. But basically, the fidget spinner was something pretty interesting. So I can't pinpoint and say this is why. Um, But let me tell you that in general, the market and the trends when it comes to products, especially fashion, I'll tell you, fashion, it's one of the most clear examples of this. It's not so much prediction as creation. Like, it's not trend prediction, it's trend creation. Like, there's certain companies, there's certain networks, there's certain people and groups of people that just start trends, and they have most of the influence, so they know what's going to work. It's not like, Dolce & Gabbana or Armani or Louis Vuitton think, oh, I wonder what people are going to like next year. No, they're gonna create the stuff, and they're gonna have ways of making people like that particular thing or be in style because the influencers like them. So with the fidget spinner, it was a bit different. The fidget spinner was a result of something pretty weird of this generation, which is we have a lot of we like fixation on our hands, like an oral fixation. Like, the previous generation had cigarettes. Our generation has the Juul, e-cigarette. Everybody's hitting something. Everybody's doing something with their hand.
Vapes
We also
and stuff,
have vapes. Everybody has like the anxiety levels and all this shit. Like, it's up through the roof. So because of that, there was an identification that there's a need for like something to fidget with. Now, other than the fidget spinner, there were 15 other types of products like clickers and stuff like that. So basically there was a prediction of the trend using human behaviors, right? So at the times, like, people do things when they're nervous or when they're working, they have something to do with their hands. And they're like, what's the most satisfying thing? I don't know how they arrived at the fact that the fidget spinner was, dude, it was everywhere. It became just everywhere. Wherever you look, there was a fidget spinner. If I open my drawer right now, there's one in there for sure. Still. So it was more as a result of the human behavior of like fixation with the hands that just increased throughout the generations. That I knew for sure. That's what the people showed to me, like in the reports before I started writing the copy. So how do you predict these trends? Like I said to you, most of the times it's one, seasonality. So you also have to look at what season of the year it is. Sometimes it's easy. So depending if you're in summer, then stuff like right now, for example, coolers, there's a lot of like different supplements and different things because people become a bit more active in summer. And then during the winter, there's like certain blankets, there's like pillows, stuff that makes you more comfortable. So if you kind of know the trends of seasonality, then you can kind of go through a product cycle, and there are new up and coming products that are like booms, but it's usually like they kind of repeat just from the same categories, just different
from
products.
season to season.
That's how it is. Yeah, from season to season. And luckily, I wasn't the guy that had to do this kind of research, like what's going to be the product. I received the product already with the explanation, with the research. Hey, this is why the people want this. So make sure that you write about this, But like I said, through this research, I used to see that it's a lot about human like behavior. Human behavior fascinates me. And so if you see the global trends, then it's very easy to predict what kind of products that are going to be used.
Yeah, okay. That's kind of interesting. Talking about the biggest trends on Shopify, what would you say is the biggest trend currently? Fidget spinners were back in like 2016, maybe something like that. So what would be the current biggest trend? What are the things that come to your mind right now?
So I actually took a look. I cheated. I took a look at some of the reports, and actually they didn't surprise me. But I would say the most. So in the health and wellness stuff is going through the roof right now. There's overall in the world there's a mass awakening of like people that want to be more health conscious. They want to like do stuff that is right for their bodies, and so certain supplements such as like matcha teas, ashwagandha is like a type of plant that kind of like relaxes you. So all these kind of powders, mushroom powders, all of this kind of it's like kind of like a separate section of the supplements, not the normal supplements like protein, amino acids, all of these things, kind of like the new, more health conscious stuff, like green stuff. That's where people are going. And there's a lot of white labeling going on with that. So a lot of companies that are wholesaling under many different labels, the same product, So that's a huge trend that's happening right now. And another thing is people are starting to get out of their house a lot. I don't know how the situation is in Europe. I know it was kind of more closed with COVID and stuff, but here in the United States, some states was closed, some states it wasn't. But generally everybody this summer is like more going out. And so you have three products that are winning right now. You have a lot of outdoor hiking equipment, like just normal hiking stuff. You have cordless wireless chargers, so stuff that you can charge and then bring with you, so you charge your phones on the way out. I see a lot of them with solar panels, even like just you can charge them wherever you are. And then of course there's also a lot of like athleisure and yoga attire, because
nice.
more and more people are also starting to go out, go to like classes again. So this kind of things are booming throughout the summer. But again, it's the seasonality. I look at seasonality because I don't like, you can't look at a product and say, okay, I'm going to sell this product for the next 2 years. Maybe some people can, and some products are evergreen products like that. But I prefer to look at seasonality, which assures me that it's like, okay, these products are going to be doing well. So look for products that are for people that go outside, like people that go out and about. And if you're looking for stuff for in the house, like just smart speakers of all kinds, like smart speakers, smart home stuff, there's a revolution. Even I used to not like smart home stuff. Now that I just moved into this North Carolina stuff, we have like a smart home system, like the camera, like the smart lock, you leave, you come back, it locks by itself. So that's a huge trend as
So
well.
basically all of them, you would agree that those are the somehow problem solvers that sell the most,
Yes.
correct? Okay,
Yes,
so
exactly.
my next question would be, okay, so the brand comes to you and ask your services for the copywriting, and they want you to make them their page. So what was the most disastrous product that you have received and you were thinking like, there's no way that this is ever going to sell? I don't know the results, but just for the what's the most ridiculous product you ever get to write?
So I think there were two of them, and I'll tell you why. Because one was ridiculous, but it was sold and it was useful, but it's still ridiculous to write for. Like I never thought that I would write for something like that. And then the other one was ridiculous and it didn't sell. So the first one was a bidet, like a portable bidet. It's like a thing that you put on your toilet and you turn it on and it like washes your ass after you go to the bathroom. And
my God.
that was like the point where I was like, oh my God, is this what I want to be doing? Like do I want to write copy for people that are going to buy product to wash their ass with? And I was like, you know what? It's pretty sanitary. It's for the good of the world. So I was like, you know what? It's okay. And it actually sold. It sold a lot, and it was for an Amazon product. So it was not drop shipping. It was like FBA, Amazon FBA, but still similar type of thing, because you still had to write a product, and the whole entire Amazon page is like a landing page. And they actually did very well. They had like 20% conversion, which is huge for Amazon. And so yeah, that was pretty like funny, because that was the first time I had to write for something like that. Okay, and the one product that was the weirdest is for a real hyper realistic sex doll. Like,
Okay.
it's really recent. I'm not gonna name the company,
No,
but
don't. Okay.
it was, yeah, no, I'm not going to, because I don't want to endorse. I also don't want them to like sue me. But it was their hyper realistic sex dolls. Like, they have actual skin like textures. They speak to you, and they move, and they look very, very, very scarily close to the real human body. And they go for like 10 grand and plus, like $10,000 and more. Yeah.
Actually,
and so I wrote their affiliate
dropshipping
page.
product.
No, it is a drop shipping product, because basically it's not a drop shipping product. It was more like affiliate like product,
Okay.
because they have like a wholesaler, and then it's for them to sign up to the affiliate and sell their dolls. But it was still a product that I had to sell so that other people would start using,
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. That one, I don't know if it's sold, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm sure there's a market for it. Like, I'm sure there's people that buy them, because if not, they would not sell them for $10,000.
Yeah.
But I just, in my opinion, I wrote to them, and I actually declined the first time. Like, when they came to me, I declined. I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't feel comfortable. This looks like the dystopia, like from Blade Runner. And I was like, no, I don't think I want this. And then they're like, come on, it's just an affiliate page. And I was like, okay, let's write it. It's okay.
The product is the product. Business is a business. We are not here to judge.
Exactly.
We are here to do the work. Okay, I agree.
Somebody's gonna be happy with that product, So why take it away?
So you actually mentioned the thing that I actually want to ask you is, for someone who is total beginner, you just mentioned it. What is exactly the Amazon FBA? Can you explain it in your own words and how you see it in 2022?
So Amazon FBA is it's slightly a bit different than dropshipping. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not the expert on this. And one of my friends tried to launch a product through that, and I kind of helped him with that too. But it's basically you find a supplier. So it's similar to dropshipping, right? So you find a supplier that sells that thing. And instead of the product being like completely handled in the back end by the supplier, you kind of like take the product, you brand it, you label it with whatever you want. So let's say, I don't know, like a summer umbrella, right? Like a big umbrella for your garden, because that's another thing that's selling right now. My neighbors just got two, so I'm watching my neighbors too. And so you go, and sometimes you go on Amazon and you see like kind of the same product, just with like different, like even this camera holder or like the tripod. It's the same tripod, just with different brands on them. That's similar to dropshipping, but you take them in, you make your own white labeling on the back end. So you have to handle it. You have to talk with the company that does the packaging, that does the white labeling. And then you get to ship the stuff to the Amazon warehouse, right? So whenever there's products, there's orders or whatnot, you ship to the Amazon warehouse, and then they ship to the people. What's the advantage in all of this? That instead of creating your own website, running your own ads, doing all of that, you kind of put it on Amazon, and you can basically do the same as drop shipping. It's just a bit more involvement from your side, but Amazon lists it on their marketplace. So that gives it a lot of credibility, a lot more authority, a lot more opportunity for people to see it. It's just that you have to do some of the things in the back end. Sometimes you have to hold it. Like if you have a big inventory, sometimes you have to find a warehouse to then send to the Amazon warehouse. Depending on how many orders you have, you have to handle some of the things. So it's very similar to drop shipping. It's just that it involves a bit more flexibility and more control on your end. And again, I recommend for people to go a bit more and watch this in their own time, like to go research a bit more. But in easy terms, that's what it is. It's just basically drop shipping through Amazon with a bit more involvement.
You covered it perfectly, in my opinion. That's basically the same thing that I have learned while learning the Amazon FBA. So, regarding to dropshipping, are the one product stores popular now, or multi-product stores? Of course, it's kind of one product store can also be profitable. Multi-product store can also be profitable. But what's more popular? What people go and do more?
That's a good question. I don't know if I can say what people go for more. I'll talk again from personal experience from like the last 3, 4, 5 products that I've written for. And 2 of them, let's take an example from the same kind of market, which is the jewelry and accessories market. So I recently wrote for a watch only company, one watch, not many watches, like just one watch that looks exactly the same, an entire store just for one watch. And then at the same time, I wrote for another store that had accessories, watches, jewelry, all that stuff. The problems that they arrived to me with was a good indicative of which one is better. For example, the store with the watches is like, I'm converting, I'm trying to raise the price, and I want to speak to an audience that's more premium, right? So they're going to pay more for the watch. The guy that came to me about the multi-accessory shop was like, nothing is converting. Please help me. People are not buying anything. And so I think that they're just like with everything in business, start deep, go deep, and then expand. So I've seen a lot of people start with one product and then expand into 2, 3 more. And from what I've heard, that is a lot more smart because it allows you to test. So if you start with 10 of them at the same time, I guarantee you, unless you have like thousands of dollars, you don't have the money or the time to test ads and to test how like all the products work. So you think, okay, what's the problem? I'm just one of the products going to sell, the other ones are not. Yeah, but the other products are a distraction from the main product that you could be selling even more. So what I say is, if you have a lot of money to invest in ads and to invest in testing, you can start with more than one product, start a multi-product shop. I've seen a lot of them succeed. Whereas if you have less and you're just starting out, start with one product and do it well, do it really well. Get a lot of play the margin until the end, get as much as you can. And when you see, okay, let's scale with something that makes sense, and then open up a second product on your store and then test it out, see how it goes, and then a third and a fourth. For me, that's a much better way of growing your store.
Okay, that's fair answer. So the thing I wanted to ask you is, since you are doing the copywriting for the e-commerce stores, what are your some of the secrets up your sleeve that you would like to share with someone who would just like to start with the basically copywriting for the e-commerce stores?
That's a perfect question, and I think this is I'm trying not to generalize the question because it's kind of the same answer for anything that involves copywriting, but specifically for e-commerce is don't focus on the product. A lot of people say focus on the product, don't focus on the product, focus on what the product is going to solve for the people. And don't just start selling a product. First of all, when you choose the product, it starts with the product. Like it starts by choosing the correct product before any copywriting. And you start by saying what product is going to solve a problem for somebody. Okay. And so you know that your product is solving a specific problem. And that's already the beginning. If you have that, all your copywriting is going to be much easier because you understand that you sell this product to solve this problem and make your customer's life X better, easier, faster, whatever it is. So once it comes down to writing, you need to understand the people. So it's not the product, understand the person that's entering your website. You have to understand what is it that they desire the most? What is it that is the biggest problem that they have right now? And can your product solve that problem from them, right? And so from there you take it, and instead of focusing on the features of the product, oh, it has like this nice leather strap, and this watch has like, I don't know, it tells you the time and space or whatever. Instead of looking at the features, look at the benefits and look at the outcome of the benefits. So a great example of it, like continuing with the watch, instead of the leather strap, you could say the benefit of that, right? The benefit of this leather strap is that you're going to look more professional. And the benefit and the outcome of looking more professional is that you're going to have higher authorities in business meetings, for example, right?
Yeah.
So you're suddenly
awesome.
you're not selling the leather strap, you're selling the conversation that you're going to have, the networking power,
the
that
feeling
you're have
for
with the person.
Guy who's
Exactly.
going to buy it. Yeah.
Exactly. And you're going to sell them the lifestyle. Yeah, playing on the emotions. And a lot of people ask me, is that manipulation? It's not, because the way I do it is I never sell bullshit. So I never write stuff that I know is not going to happen. Like I never do that. It's more like painting an image of what it would feel like to have the watch, which is what Nike did the best. And like they sold lifestyle. Like Nike was the company that got clothes for athletes to be worn by normal people that never do sports in their lives. Because why? Because you wear their clothes and you feel like an athlete. It's the same. That's the in principle. Like don't sell the feature, sell the benefit and the outcome of the benefit of the product. That's the number one rule. And you can only do that if you really understand the people behind the ask, behind the question, like behind the traffic, like who's really looking at your store. Like become obsessed about them and become obsessed about helping them out.
Okay.
So that's my number one thing. And I could go on forever, but like if you do that alone, that's what helped me solve conversion problems for most people. That, and a really quick one is talk about them. Don't talk about your product. So talk about you. Don't talk about we or us or our product will do this or we want to show you. No. It's like you will feel this. You will be that. Like, go you, always you.
Yeah. Actually, that applies to many other industries as well. Talking about the general marketing, you started your own marketing agency. What do you see as the current best trends of the marketing of 2022? How do you even approach the marketing in 2022? What are some of the hottest things you would do doing the marketing currently?
Yeah.
Digital marketing.
Digital marketing. So we just started out, and it's actually the website's in the process, the branding is in the process, but that doesn't stop me from going out and getting clients. You know, I think that's a good advice for anybody listening that's trying to start a business in this space. Don't try for everything to be in order before you start going for clients. Like trust me, most of them don't really care if you have a website or if you have an LLC or like the company is official or not. They just care if you can solve the problems for them. And so we're in the process, but we're going out for clients. And this is actually a great question that you're asking, because I think that first and foremost in 2022, it's very important to have strategy and creative in marketing. Okay. So that's the approach that we're taking with our agency, which is the strategic side, which is what I was talking about before, understanding the customer, understanding their life, understanding the behavior, understanding the trends, and understanding how to solve problems is on one side. The other side is once you understand the insight, like the truth about how to solve a certain problem is, okay, now you have to execute the campaign, right? And that's when people sometimes drop the ball. So being able to identify problems is half of the battle. The other half is being able to provide a creative solution for those problems, like making sure that the ads are fun, they're interactive, they're engaging. They're not just like any other ads that you see on Instagram. So even if you have a great idea, make sure that you design it well. So that's number one.
Okay, so quick digression. Facebook ads versus Instagram ads versus TikTok ads versus Google ads. What do you prefer in 2022?
So the two biggest growing social media platforms right now, the number one is TikTok, which is taking everything by wave. And the second one, believe it or not, is Reddit. Reddit is the number two biggest growing social media, and it has been, and just people kind of sleep on it because it's I don't know, more deep web like, it's like more hidden, like it's not as commercial yet. So I would actually say TikTok ads for certain things are very useful, like consumer products, drop shipping, all that stuff that we're just talking about. It's awesome for TikTok. Services, so services like coaching, services like a lot of professional services in general, like even marketing, like marketing help, sales help, like people that sell services like real estate. All of those things are great to be sold through TikTok because you can either sell the product and show its uses in very fun and artistic way, or you can like immediately deliver value as a professional, So in TikTok, that's what I would go for. Instagram and Facebook, listen, when they started messing with the data, like when they didn't have the access to some data, a lot of people thought that it was the end of Facebook and Instagram advertising. It's not true. You just have to like kind of change the way you get data about the people. I think Instagram and Facebook are still great ways of doing ads, but I would say if you have a higher spend of money, do Instagram and Facebook, and also do it with TikTok. If not, don't be scared of like ditching Instagram and Facebook. See where your audience is. Like, I can't give you one answer that says this is better than that. You need to understand, first of all, where your audience is the most. Like, if most of your audience is on Instagram and they're on Instagram most of the time, then go for Instagram. But if most of your audience is on TikTok, don't waste your time competing against everybody else in the world right now. Go for TikTok. Or even better, go for Reddit, because Reddit is one of the most loyal social media. Like, people hang out there and are most involved on Reddit. Like, it's the highest engagement.
Okay, I would like you right now for you to explain me how does Reddit marketing work, at least from your point of view. What I'm hearing it for the first time. How is it even working?
Of course. So there's two ways. So the number one, like everywhere, number one is organic, so not paid. And the second one is paid. Organic, and the way Reddit works is like they have subreddits, right? So subreddits is like you go in and you're into hunting, and then you go and you search hunting, and then there's a subreddit, so like a group. And in that group, it's basically all the threads about hunting. And there's people talking about hunting gear. There's people asking questions. So what happens with Reddit? If you want to go the organic way, so not paying ads, just like doing it for free, you need to find groups that are related to your products. Many times, for example, I'll tell you now, let's go service-based. Okay. So now I'm going to go like coaching. There's a lot of people, the biggest industry that boomed in terms of service is coaches of everything. The fitness coaches, business coaches, marketing coaches. Where can you find the people that are most likely going to buy these products, right? So you're going to look at entrepreneur groups. You're going to look at investor groups.
Yeah.
Self-development. All of these things where people that need coaches are going to be. And it's not like you go, like most people will go and drop their link and be like, hey, I'm a coach, like, and spam the Reddit. I did that too when I was younger, but it's not like that. What you do, and it takes a longer time. If you're not doing it, if you're doing it yourself, it takes a longer time, but you go in and you start answering questions. What is that basically? What are you doing? You're building authority. You're building credibility. There is so many questions on Reddit. A lot of people go on this Reddit just to ask questions because they know that people are going to answer. Like, I was growing some plants the other, like 2 months ago, and I was like, I took a picture because I was like, I don't know if this is good, if this plant is about to die. And I took a picture and I was like, what is this? 5 minutes later, I got 3 answers. And so you have to understand what's the user behavior on Reddit. The user behavior on Reddit is question and answer. And so if you want to learn, you ask a question. If you want to teach, you answer questions. So you go there and you just scroll through and you see people asking questions. And you go and you type your answer in and you help them. You don't do it as a way to just say at the end, hey, check out my marketing agency as well. No, you just answer and just say, in my experience as a marketing agency owner. So that's kind of like, you get sneaky. You tell them there what your business is, and you answer the question. You deliver value without asking for anything in return. This is the key. Go and deliver so much value without asking anything in return, and do that 3, 4, 5 times every day. And that's how you build like credibility in the group. And people see that every time they have a question, you're the one to answer. And so the people that can afford to be like, hey, well, how about like I just message this guy, be like, hey, can you help me out? Like, I want to hire you. I want to talk to you. That's the number one way that I saw people getting like progress in Reddit. Software as a service as well, like SaaS. So basically, like, people that are selling services online. I have a friend who sells a service within the logistics world. He's done the same. He's just answering questions about related software that people are asking, or problems that his software would solve for them, so that's another way. If you see that somebody's asking a question and your product is a solution, don't just say, hey, buy my product. You could say, you identify the problem, and then you talk about your product in an organic way. So it's just about participating in the community.
So that's
this
the first
all
way.
About new marketing, Yeah, that's the first way. So participating in a community and answering questions and delivering value is the first one, the organic and free way. The paid way is buying ads. And this one's short. It's just buying ads and buying ads within these that are going to show up within these groups. So Reddit is very similar. It's like they're going to show you ads that are like basically related to whatever topic you're reading. That's one way that you can buy it straight from Reddit.
Where
or you can go onto the group.
On the side?
No, well, there are banners. Those are more like native ads, but there's also shown like in the feed, like as a normal post. And sometimes instead of buying it from Reddit, you can go into the like group and message the admin or the owner and say, hey, I would like to make a paid post that you're going to like promote, and you're going to show up top or pin. So you can sometimes just go to the communities that already have the people, go to the owner and say, hey, I have a product, I have this service, I'd like to pay. Do you do advertising? And a lot of them do. A lot of them advertise stuff. And you're like, okay, I'm just going to write a little bit about it, put a link and a little picture, and put it at the top of your subreddit for 1 month. How much would you like?
Okay.
And like literally like that. That's one of the best ways.
Okay. Yeah. So it's somehow similar to Quora marketing.
Yes.
Actually, yeah.
Quora. I was gonna say Quora too. Like Quora, I spend most of my time answering questions on Quora as a free way of building credibility. Just answer questions all day long.
That's nice. Yeah. That's nice. Okay, so we have actually some other topics to cover as well. So you're starting your marketing agency. What were your biggest challenges? How do you even? How would you, as someone who already worked with a lot of clients, how would you suggest someone starting their own agency? What would be the, how would I say, secret that you would like to share to someone who is just starting the marketing agency? What are some of the pros and cons, and what are some of the basically objections that you have came across so far?
Okay, so I have actually, this one was one of the questions that I actually prepared because I wanted to genuinely help. Like I sat down and I was like, I don't want to give an easy answer to this. So the number one thing, which is obvious, is that everybody is starting a marketing agency. If you go look online, everybody has some social media marketing agency or something like that. Okay. Yeah. over 7,000 marketing agencies in the US alone. And then there's 150,000 independent freelancers that are marketing related within the US. While that might seem like a lot, and it is a lot, it's still a small fraction compared to the amount of businesses that are starting in general. Okay. So the fact that everybody's starting a marketing agency is a challenge, but it's a great reason for you to get into it, because it's at a time where it's very competitive, and that doesn't mean that everybody's going to survive. Most of the people won't survive. Most of the startups fail before their fifth year. Most of the agencies fail before their third. Like they don't have clients, right? So first of all, that's one of the things that you have to understand. And the best way to avoid this challenge, or to kind of make it a bit easier, is to niche a bit more, which is what we did. Instead of just offering digital marketing to everybody, which seems like it's easier, right? Because everybody can be a client. We went for tech, software, and Web3 clients mainly. Okay. So we niched down, like not only digital marketing, but for this kind of category. And, there was a lot of tactical decisions as to why, a lot of money, a lot of market potential, they're going to keep growing. And also, like, not everybody does this kind of stuff. Like sometimes people get scared of like doing the bigger products, more techie products. So that's what we wanted to do. So that's challenge number one, that everybody's starting. You can avoid it by niching down. Number two, economic instability. No matter where you are in the world right now, it's crashing. Like the shit's going in fire, like, and not in a good way. Everything's just like burning. So a lot of the companies might be reducing their advertising and marketing, and especially in Web3, and we took a big hit. It's taking a big hit every day. Bitcoin dropped under 20,000. A lot of projects like Terra Luna that went to zero, and we can talk about that later. But like the market is just taking a dump. So economic instability in general right now is a big challenge, and you have to realize that not everybody's going to be willing to spend the same amount of money on advertising. Now they're like holding their money to be able to pay their employees first and foremost. So you have to look for clients that are willing to grow. Number three, the startup costs and the time. You're basically not going to have a lot of funding at the beginning, okay? But at the same time, you're going to have to find a way to fund your business. A lot of the people keep working at their job, and then they use the time that they have after their job to work on their business. And a lot of people became successful with you. So I was lucky. I actually have it here. I was lucky because I quit my agency. So I was working as a copywriter at an agency in Chicago, at advertising agency, and I quit, and we kind of finished the contract in November 2020. And then I had grown my Fiverr enough to where I could do that and make the same amount of money, or close to the same amount of money that I was doing in the agency. So although I still had to work on Fiverr to get enough money to survive, it was not a 9 to 5. It was like a freelancer style. And right now I don't have a job. The way I'm supplementing my business is I do a lot of Fiverr, and I outsource all of the work to writers that I've worked with and that they've delivered the highest quality. So that's kind of almost passive for me. So I don't have to have a job from 9 to 5. I'm lucky enough to have already built a almost passive sort of income that gives me enough money to survive and also to invest in my business. So that's how you work. But you work from the 9 to 5 to the Fiverr to the next thing, So that's a lot of the things that you have to do. Just make sure that you have some other way of paying the bills. Like, just don't go all out. Some people will tell you to go all out. I mean, if you have the safety, go do it. But that's how I did it. And I have a few more, just going quickly over them. You start out as a one-man team, and talk to people that understand the business that you're doing. So the agency, and talk to somebody that's going to tell you who you need to hire first.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Who do you hire first?
So first of all, I made sure that I have the team that can deliver the deliverables, right? So first and foremost, I need to see what are the projects that what are the services that I'm offering? Who do I need for that? And I'm not hiring anybody right now because everything is still on a project by project basis. But I do have a list of team members that whenever I get a project, I take all of them, create a small team, and be like, okay, we're going to work on this for the next 2 months. So I have 3 writers, I have 3 designers, I have 2 marketing specialists, because although I like marketing and I've been in it, I like to give it to somebody else that does only that. And I have a team of lead developers. I have a team under a lead developer. So a lot of developers and designers that can do coding and stuff like that. And then that covers most of my ass, that covers most of the projects. And then here's where you start thinking about internal, like who do I hire on my end to help me run this shit? Because I'm my own, like I'm my own accountant, I'm my own like administrator, my own project manager. I would say, and I'm actually in talks, the very first person that I'm working with would be a virtual assistant that's a project manager as well. Because project management is the number one reason why most agencies fail. They don't like, people get so burnt out by having to keep track of where the stuff is in the project. Make sure you update the Trello, make sure that you know that you're following up a timeline.
So basically
project
doubling
management,
yourself through that person.
yes, doubling myself and kind of giving them the ability and the freedom to kind of like set the timing for you. It's a bit weird. You have to kind of let somebody else also like, manage you a little bit in that sense of way. So you have to be like humble enough to let other people do the stuff that you're not good at. So don't micromanage stuff. Don't micromanage. That's the worst thing you can do as a leader, as a business owner. Just don't try to do everything. Okay. And the first thing that you can do to liberate most of your time is somebody that can manage projects for you, like in terms of time, in terms of communications, in terms of all that. Like get an assistant, sort of assistant, and start with that. And then you can, get an accountant. You don't need an accountant all year long. You need an accountant when it's time to do taxes. You need a lawyer when it's time to like write up a document. You don't need people all the time, but you need an assistant almost all the time to come with you on meetings and take notes, to make sure that they email clients and keep you on track. That's the first person that I'm hiring, and I'm actually talking to a few people right now. So that's the thing. Build a good team of experts, and then of course getting clients. Nobody speaks about this, but the most important thing for a business is to get clients, because if you don't get clients, you can do beautiful stuff, build an incredible team, but you need to basically first have a source of leads. Okay. But you have to understand which is your best way of getting leads. Is it Instagram? Is it like we talked about before, Reddit? Is it word of mouth? Right? Just making sure that people recommend you. You need to have a system in place of getting people that are interested in your business, and then you need to learn how to sell them and what to sell them. So getting clients has like three parts. First, getting the leads, then closing the leads and becoming clients, and then the third part is keeping them, because keeping them is very hard. You need to do a good job, and it's a lot easier to keep a client, and it's a lot cheaper to keep a client than to get a new one. So that's another challenge.
Would you do the discount for the first client? Not actually the first client, but guy comes and, hey, I want to hire you. Okay, your services are, I don't know, 1,000 of something, and they say, okay, I can't pay that, I can do 700.
That's a great question. So I used to do that because I didn't know like a lot about business. Okay. And I had this scarcity mindset. But now, and this is a great point to talk about, and people that are listening should look at abundance, have an abundance mindset. So at the beginning, I am taking a project now for a third of the cost, but it's because of a different reason. It's because I'm trying to build a case study around that deliverable. So I'm doing some email marketing for a logistics startup. And because of that, I know that I would rather have a bit more control over the project and lead them my way, rather than letting them tell me what their goals are, to make a project that I can show to future clients, right? But because of that, I'm charging a third. I'm charging them a third, and making sure that I have like the ownership over the project, and I can do more or less whatever I want. But it's because I need to create some results that I know they're going to be satisfactory and attractive to future clients. But let's say that, another client comes, and then I tell them, look, it's $2,000 and it's a monthly retainer for 6 months, right? So that means that they're $12,000 kind of like locked in contract. What happens? A lot of them will say, we only have $1,500 or $1,000 budget. In that case, a lot of people think either I drop my price or I say no. And both of those things are wrong. There's a third thing that you can do, and this is the best thing you can do. You can say, okay, for $1,000, we cannot offer you everything that you're asking for. But for $1,000, we can offer you this only. So for example, if they came in and they asked for SEO, for website design with all the content written and SEO, you can say, honestly, the content and the SEO is not going to enter in this $1,000. So for $1,000 only, which is half of the budget that we offered you, we can design your website, So you can basically adapt to their budget, but don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, I
Just
would
sell
agree.
less services. And don't ever think that it's the last customer that's going to arrive. It's so hard at the beginning because you're like, oh my God, I can pay all my bills this month and I can pay my guys and I can do everything right now, even with this shitty price. Don't do that, because then you're going to keep attracting and you're going to keep having this bad habit of lowering your prices, and you're never going to get paid what you really want to get paid.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I was in a similar situations as well.
Yeah.
And I totally do the same things. Like the thing I would add up onto your
Yeah.
tactics
Tell me.
would be the I actually have 3 packages, and that's like the all written rule of all my businesses, that I came up with 3 prices, and I make the third most expensive price actually the best one. So some of people are doing it for the second price, and but I'm doing it for the third. So for example, I'm doing video marketing for some of the crypto projects, and channel with the lowest number of subscribers goes for, let's say, 200. Channel with the medium, let's say 25,000 subscribers, goes for let's say 300. So it's just a little bit more of costly,
Right.
but significantly more audience. And the last channel is at 70k, so it's a lot bigger, and that one alone goes for 190. But since we are, of course, offering the first time discount, you're going to get all 3 channels for 650. So I'm
Okay.
doing those kind of tactics, and they work like really well, because it always goes okay. I have money for the lowest one, the smaller channel, okay? But with 100 more, it will be the much bigger channel. And then, but this channel, if I put a little bit more budget into it, and then I close them like that. But there are a lot of. It's similar to. I'm not sure if you paid attention, but with the popcorns in the cinema, it's the same.
Yes.
It's the same stuff.
Yes.
It's the same stuff.
That's a good pricing strategy. Yeah. There was another one where people used to put the so there's like the small, medium, and big prices, and then the small price is like 100, right? And then the medium one is a pretty big jump, right? So it's like, so instead of 100, instead of going to 200, it goes to like 275. But then the premium is only 325. So it's, so there's a huge jump between small and medium, and a very small difference in between the last two. So you're like, oh yeah, there's a big jump here, but for only 50 more, I can get everything, So that's also like a very smart pricing strategy. And it just depends on like also who you're like dealing with. Like if you have people that have the budget, you can do that kind of stuff, So I totally agree with you.
Yeah,
That's a smart way.
Yeah, and actually, like in my pricing, there's a mistake. Like the mistake that I actually have done, and I'm still continuing to done, is that when you order the largest and second largest channel, it actually is cheaper than all 3 combined.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry, buying all 3 channels is actually cheaper than buying the largest and the second largest alone. And people sometimes like want to trick you, and they don't think you know it, and then they make their. But those are some of the tricks up on the sleeve, and that's totally fine by me.
I mean, it's also a good way of you giving value. Like if you know that you're doing that, you're not getting tricked. You're basically you're giving out something of truly valuable. And then if people think that they're smart, well, let them think whatever, you know that you're on your end, you're creating the product that's going to help.
And the Vlads, by the way, Vlad's contacts will be down in the description. So his Fiverr account as well, Fiverr Geeks, and the contact email, is that fine by you?
Yes, put everything. I'll give you the website too, but I don't know if by the time we record this is going to be up and running. So just reach out to my email. Anything at all, questions, even everything.
Yeah, so you can ask the questions and actually consult with the Vlad. All the links will be down into the description, so don't forget about that. Okay, let's move on to one of the interesting topics that I have prepared for today. Is the crypto topic. Have you worked with some crypto projects before? What's your
Yes.
experience? So, were you doing the copywriting for the crypto project, or?
Yeah, that's actually how I got the idea to start a digital marketing agency in this space. So on Fiverr, I started offering crypto and NFT copywriting because it's basically, I understood that a lot of people needed it. And if you're going to write about these things, you kind of have to be part of the community, the crypto community. And I'm not like, so my crypto involvement is definitely long-term. I'm not a short-term guy. I'm not like a buy, sell trading. It's not that. I'm like a really long-term guy because I believe in the fact that the world currencies right now are backed by absolutely nothing and their money is just getting printed. And that's going to end at some point. And so going back to something like the gold standard, where every single piece of money was backed by something else, is going to be a thing again. And that's why Bitcoin is going to probably do that. Let's hope, So my position in crypto started more like from a financial value point of view. So what happened? I started reading about NFTs as well. At first, I was like, okay, let's see what's the real value behind them. It's not just a pretty picture. Let's see what kind of utilities. So I got into the world and I realized, okay, not everybody knows what the fuck they're talking about. Like some people, there's a lot of terms, like it's a new dictionary, you have to learn many new terms. And what does that mean? That if you do that as a writer, you have instantly an advantage. So I started selling that on Fiverr and I didn't know what to expect. But as I did it, Fiverr sent a report with the trends of what's the most searched things on Fiverr. And crypto and NFT services were the most searched.
Yeah.
So I was like, great. And the best performing gig so far, and the one that I added last, was this one, crypto and NFT. So I worked with about 25 projects right now. And I would say that, dude, it's such a good space because everybody is launching their NFT project, just like everybody was launching their website in the .com revolution in the early 2000s, right? Everybody was starting something on the internet, their website or their business. And so the bad side is that I know that most of these projects that I write for, they're not going to make it. Like, I know they're not. Like, no matter what good things you write about them, they might sell out, but then the actual value that they're going to deliver to people is going to stop at a certain point because it's not going to be sustainable anymore. And the thing about working with these kind of websites is that one, like I said, you need to understand the terms. Two, you need to understand the community. You're not writing to people that are like on the web anymore. You're writing for the people that have a very different mentality. You're writing to people that know what a wallet is. They know what a digital asset is. And so I've worked with a lot of them. And in terms of like crypto and NFT projects, you basically want to make sure that you can create a trustworthy and valuable image for them, because there are so many projects every day. There are some of them that have utility and some of them have absolutely zero value. And for some people, just a pretty picture can get them to be too excited about something that actually has zero value. So the number one thing I do is actually check, do you have some value to offer now? I don't care if you're going to fail as a project in 1 year. I cannot predict that. But do you have some value now? Or is it just like a fucking picture, like a profile picture?
Yeah.
Like, is that it? And so if there's some utility to it, I'm going to be like down and say yes. If there's just a profile picture, what can I write? Like, I can't write like, oh, use it as your profile picture is the only selling point.
Baby sheep, trillionaire, billionaire. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, what are you going to do? Oh, you're going to have access to the decentralized autonomous organization decisions. I'm like, what decisions are you going to be making that are so important for me to be a part of? Like, oh, if we're going to add a new color to the hair of the pictures, like, that there's very little things. But there's a couple projects that were pretty big that I worked on, and I'm working on one actually right now. I can't say the name yet because they're about to be out, but it's a project out of Ukraine actually. And yeah, they're being produced right now, like in Kiev, and the people chose to stay in Kiev while all this stuff was happening right now. And they're creating basically a project to attract. So before the war, from what I understood from them, like Kiev was a big hub for like attracting talent from like the IT and design world. Like it was a very like tech center. And now with everything happening, of course, it's not as easy to access it, or as willing, people are not as willing to go there. And so what they're trying to do is to regain that kind of status for people to come back, to attract talent and to come to Kiev. And you're going to see a lot more about it right now. We're actually doing the press release and all that stuff. but it's a huge project that has focus on minorities, has focus on the women, and has focus on everybody being able to become a part of the NFT world. So I love this kind of projects that take something technical as like, smart contracts and creating 4,400 different NFTs in like 10 minutes. That they take all of these concepts that are a bit hard and then they make it very easy for anybody to do it. Because yeah, a lot of people are going to fail, but they're going to be more chances for people to get in. So that's what we're working with right now. We're doing their press release. We've built their website.
How do you
We've
see
written their website.
Sorry to interrupt you, but just we will continue. But speaking about the crypto projects, how do you see the Terra Luna fall? How can such a big project actually fail so much?
From
your
so I don't know the technicalities. Yeah, I don't know the technicalities of why it fell. I just know that nobody expected it. It wasn't one of those things that they expect, like Dogecoin. Like, okay, Dogecoin was nothing. I don't know about exactly why or how, but I can definitely tell you that this sends a clear message, which is that even the projects that look most promising and even the projects that look like they're going to do well, it's the other side of crypto. Even those projects can be a rug pull, or they can be not a scam, but something that goes to zero, because at the end of the day, it is a result of speculation. Like, even if there is utility in it, the hundred of coins have the same utility. Like, how many coins can you use on swaps to transfer between different currencies? How many coins help you, I don't know, help you get more like people can pay you these coins for like the content you create. There's a lot of different coins and different projects that kind of do the same thing, have the same utility. And the only thing that sets them apart is speculation. It's like, oh, more people think that this project is going to do well. Now, if you go in terms of finance, I know that there's people that had like that leveraged a lot of money. I know that people saw the market crashing and they kept, like, there's a syndrome where you see that shit is going wrong and then you keep investing in it because like in poker, when you have
doubling down.
Yeah, doubling down. You have nothing, and there's the fourth card comes down and you still have nothing, but you have to keep bluffing.
Yeah,
you have to keep bluffing and hope that somebody is going to drop out by the fifth hand and nobody drops out. I think this is what kind of happened with Terra and a lot of other projects that are going down right now, because there's another one. I can't remember for the life of me what the name of it is, but there's a lot of things that are going down. And I feel like the number one result is a lot of people that don't know what they're doing are getting in these projects, buying a lot of money because of the get rich fast scheme.
Also about the staking, their staking was pretty unreal. Like if you compare, for example, I don't know, S&P 500 pays 5% yearly return, and like Terra Luna project is paying 19%. So yeah, that was actually also probably the indicator. But yeah, I totally see what you want to say. And also,
if it sounds too good, it's probably
not
for
true.
a reason.
Not true.
It's probably for a reason.
Yeah. And also the USDT depegged. I'm not sure if you followed that, but USDT was actually down 3%.
Yes, I also saw that. Well, I didn't. So first of all, I didn't know that. You mean like the Tether? You're talking about Tether?
Yeah.
Or what you're talking about? Yeah. So first of all, people have this idea that stable coins are direct. They're always going to stay like at the value. Like USDT it's correlated directly to the dollar, right? So for me, I don't know exactly what happened again, but the fact that you think that nothing that is not tangible and that has no immediate value, and a lot of the projects that are like that right now, nothing is guaranteed. Not even the projects that like stable coins, like I said, like stable coins that are supposed to be directly correlated, just like the gold standard, right? So this much money, this much gold. Not even that. Like nothing is directly safe from any of these things. But can you tell me a bit more about like what happened from your point of view, or what is it that brought it down? Because I have to say that in this one I didn't partake so much.
About the USDT?
Yes.
So from my point of view, it depegged. It has algorithm behind it that always keeps it at 1, or like some extremely low numbers below
derivations.
1. And the thing is that a lot of people actually wanted to cash out on crypto and that they wanted to pull out their money. And the thing is that it is backed by the US dollar, but when suddenly so much of the people actually went and like it's pretty similar to what would happen if everybody all at once would like to go to the banks. Like
Yes.
you can't like withdraw. All the people can't go in one single day and withdraw all of their money.
Happened in
Because
Greece.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that's the similar problem with the USDT, but it's mathematically backed that I don't know the part of. But
Right.
similar stuff. And speaking about the crypto, of course you have to mention the NFT. Do you see the NFT trend as something that is going to last for maybe more year, 2 more years, or actually being the future of the? But you have to say either one.
Yeah. So I think they're
If you
here to
would
stay.
bet.
They're here to stay. And the thing is, most people think that NFTs are the pictures. And so there's two sides to this. A lot of people think that the NFTs are just the picture, like the JPEG that you can take to your computer and screenshot. A lot of them are. A lot of them are. A lot of them are just pretty pictures. But a lot of people, other people that are on the other side of the things, they're like, no, because this is like only one of it. And it's like it has a certificate, it's only one. You like it's like owning a piece of art. Also, those people don't understand that the NFT is not the thing. The NFT is just the kind of like a signature that symbolizes the fact that you have something. Okay. So even the Bored Ape thing, the Bored Ape image, little thing, is not the NFT. The NFT is the smart contract that is directly correlated to that picture. So it's a bit weird. But in my point of view, people need to understand that it's not just a picture. There's a lot of them that are going to become just day-to-day uses. And the only way that I think, the reason why I think this is going to happen is, and I don't necessarily like this, okay? So I'm a guy that's all for technology, but I think that there's certain downsides of the technology, which mainly is the privacy, right? So soon enough, everything's going to be able to be digital. Now, you've been able to open your car from your phone for so long. You've been able to check into your Airbnb with your phone for so long. There's so many things. You don't need physical objects anymore, right? So NFTs are just going to be the smart contracts of the contracts of tomorrow, right? The smart contracts, that's all it's going to be. So instead of like going and buying a car title, like, you know, when you buy a car and you have a car title that this belongs to you, right? And when you sell your car, you sell the title to somebody else. The only thing that's going to be is that I'm going to send my NFT from my phone to yours. And now that's your car. But it's not just the picture of like the NFT sides, it's the utility sides of the NFTs that I think is going to be like tickets. Tickets. Why would you buy tickets online anymore and save them on your wallet? And when you can get them and also sell them, or you can also, there's NFTs that you cannot, like there's a new type of NFT that I don't remember the name of it. Like you receive it, for example, like a high school diploma or a college diploma, you receive the NFT and you cannot send it, right? So it stays on that wallet only. So it's just, people think that the NFT is the picture or the video or buying art. It's not that. It's basically the representation that there is only one thing of that, you know, there's only one thing, like the authenticity of it. It's just like paying an authenticity for saying this is the Mona Lisa and the other 100,000 pictures are a reproduction of it. So that's why I think it's going to be able to continue for a long time, and it's going to be integrated with all this technology. You have to see where the technology meets with all of the NFTs. It's not just the NFTs. It's no wonder that the NFTs are taking off now. You know, there's a lot of technology that allows them to be like intertwined at the same time.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I was also like thinking about that question, but I can't like get to the point where I think of too many things that will have use cases behind the technology of the NFT. Okay, so for example, let's say tenders on the or when the country actually shops and makes the tenders. A lot of tenders are actually rigged in a lot of countries by the bureaucracy and stuff like that. But
Right.
the thing is, with the NFT and blockchain, you could easily see what happens where. Tenders could be like transparent. So, for example, there's a team from Serbia, Novi Sad, where I live, which is actually doing that type of program. But what else can be so with the authenticity? Okay, so cars could be connected to the NFTs. So what could be else? I can't like even get to the point where I think of too many stuff, so I can say, oh well, this is definitely going to be future. Tickets, of course, great example. But uh, how many more things can we actually get to them?
So I don't want to sound like I'm advertising for them, because at the same time, like I said, there's a lot of things that have absolutely no value. A lot of NFTs that have absolutely no value. A lot of things that have physical utility that still have absolutely no value. So I'm not necessarily arguing that it's going to be something great. I'm saying that no matter what we do, this thing is still gonna develop. So think in terms of ownership. Whatever you own or whatever you can own in real life usually has some sort of signature or receipt that is yours, right? And like I gave the example with the cars, but you can do the same with I don't know, a boat. I mean, I gave the example with the cars, but you can do the same with like a house or with a boat or with I don't know, like I said, tickets. I said you can do collectibles. So there's going to be a lot of different things that you can own and have like the interchangeability option to be a lot easier. So how hard is it right now to sell a house? Like you need to find a real estate agent. You first of all, you need to get an appraisal, right? So you need to get somebody that appraises your house and say this much, this house is this much, because you cannot sell it for whatever you want. And then you need to get a real estate agent. The real estate agent finds a person. The person comes, signs up to the real estate agent. It's a process, right? And I think that it's going to allow people to own their things, or this is what they're like, what's supposed to be like. You're going to be able to own, switch, and buy things a lot easier without having third party interaction. So that's part of the movement of Web3, which is decentralization, right? So decentralizing the stuff, removing the middleman is basically decentralizing. Not everything has to go through people.
How would you explain the Web 3.0? That's something I totally don't know anything about. And also, a lot
Yeah.
of my audience doesn't even understand what's Web 3.0. Can you explain it somehow?
Yeah. And again, I'm not the expert on this, although like I am helping projects in this. When I'm saying I'm not an expert, is that I don't know how many people can call themselves experts in this, because it's a thing that's changing every day. Like crypto, the blockchain, everything's changing every day. So it's so fluid that there's not something that's formed so strong for so long that you can say, oh, this is what it is. So there's many different like ways to describe it, but for me, Web3 is just a progression of Web2, Web1. So Web1 was when the internet came out. It was more like computers just being connected to other computers. Then Web 2 came out, and Web 2 is basically, it went from read only to edit. So in Web 1 it was more like reading information, access to information. Web 2 was when now you started, social media was basically the biggest catapult of Web 2. Now you could interact with a lot of other people, build your own thing. But what was the problem with Web 2 is that all these big companies like Facebook, I was going to say Instagram, but it's the same thing, Google, Amazon, even Yahoo, when it was still on, they gathered a lot of the data that you had, and they suddenly became the biggest holders of information on the internet of everybody else, right? And so suddenly you could sign into, I don't know, you wanted to create a new account on some other app, you could log in with Google, Facebook, or even Amazon sometimes, or Apple right now, right? So you could log in with different things. What happened? They just started knowing whatever you were doing. And so Web3 is in part, and in big part, a solution to a lot of the people wanting to regain their privacy and their data not being sold to advertisers. Mm-hmm. So Web3 aims at decentralizing the internet. What does decentralization mean? It means that instead of one entity or one group or one app controlling a lot of the information, and controlling everything that you do. So for example, on Instagram, you can shop, you can post your content, you can like show your NFTs, buy them, you can shop, like you can actually shop for products, you can advertise, you can do so many different things in one place, and you do all of those things and they know what you do. Instead of that being in one place, suddenly it spreads out, right? So suddenly they don't know everything that you're doing. So in terms of decentralization is it comes actually from a financial term, right? So banks right now are centralized, central banks, right?
Yeah.
When you want to like send money to somebody else, you have to send them through the banking system, right? If you want to send them in fiat currencies, fiat is like dollar, euro, whatever,
yeah.
just for the listener. And basically decentralization is, okay, what if I want to send you money, but I don't want anybody else to know about it, right? So that's where like cryptos and the blockchain comes in. And Web3 just aims to do that in terms of like your identity on the website, on the internet. So it's stuff like, instead of logging in with your account information, you create a wallet. And with that wallet, you can control exactly how much information you want these applications to share between each other, how much information you want the people on that application to know about you. And it allows you to partake in the activities without releasing all of the information. Because on Facebook, if you want to do certain things, or on Instagram, you have to release all this information to them. If not, they don't allow you. Like, do you agree or do you not agree? You don't agree, you cannot use the app.
Yeah.
So that's what Web3 aims to do. It's basically creating a decentralized version of the internet where everybody can protect their identity, or at least own more of their identity than they can right now. That's the main thing that I would say that Web3 is. Although there's, people that are going to talk a lot about other things, community instead of individual. Like there's a bunch of different things that can happen there.
Okay, I understand. Okay, and for probably the last question, I would like to ask you, what's in the future for you? How do you plan on making like your further steps in the business world, and what are you striving for?
So I'm definitely focused on creating the best damn work there is. Like that's our mission, man. And with Mauve, the agency, I'm just focused on that for a while. Like I'm not focused on creating multiple streams of income or any stuff like that. I'm not focused on the business side of, I am focused on the business side of things, of course, but I'm not focusing on how can I get a profit for doing the least work. I started this agency because I missed doing awesome work. Like I looked at the work that I used to do in college and after college, and there's something about creating good creative work that is very satisfying. And not only good creative work, but work that actually helps the client out in whatever business goals that they have. So the number one thing I'm focusing on right now is how I can create the best service with the best sort of deliverables for the people that work with me, and creating the most value for the people that choose to work with us. And to do that, I'm looking to start with a few clients, and I'm speaking to a few of them already. I'm speaking to an NFT marketplace that seems to be one of the biggest chances. I'm looking at going in early in a bear market, because right now it's a bear market. It's a down. It's a red. Everything's in red. And a lot of the companies were built during the red, like Uber, Airbnb, and Stripe, for example. They're three big companies that were built in the economic recession, the last one in 2008, 2010, like that area. That's when they were built, when everything was going to shit. So now that I'm building this when everything's going bad and everybody's more scared, I have the most courage, because I know that there's going to be a bounce back, because it's cycle. Economies, countries, everything's a cycle. And when we're at the end of this cycle, I'm not going to just start then. I would already be in business for 3-4 years, helping everybody out, grow already, and develop relationships with clients, to where when everybody's looking for a marketing agency again, especially in Web3, we'll be like, look at us. For the past 4 years, we have done this stuff, And so that's my biggest goal right now. And I don't think that there's any problem, even with this economic problems. There's always a need for this kind of service. And so just focusing on the future. And I think just going along with the change, because, now this is the plan, but who knows how the world's going to change soon.
It's going to be exciting
for the
definitely.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. Like
especially in the internet industry, it's changing like a lot.
Exactly. Everything's changing. And Elon Musk says this, like if you wake up and you have, an image of the future that is exciting, then it's a good day. And I feel like a lot of people are pessimistic, because it's easy to look outside and see like, oh my God, everything's kind of going down. But I feel like people just have to take a look at history and see that there's always a period of going down and then back up and then going down and then back up. And you cannot ask for an easy life all the time. So I'm here through the thick and thin. I'm here to grow this company up, help people create like realities from their dreams, and just see where we are in 4 or 5 years. And maybe I'm also humbling that maybe this doesn't work out and I'll do something else. That's what it is. But first, give it all I got, give it all we got and create good shit.
That's the spirit. That's the spirit. Okay, Vlad, thank you so much for your time. Once again, if you want to contact the Vlad, definitely make sure to check out the description. It will be down. So his email and also his Fiverr gigs are going to be down into the description. Vlad, thank you once again for your time. And I hope that you enjoyed today's talk.
Thank you, Alex, man. It was awesome. It was awesome to talk. And I'm down for a round 2 whenever you want. I know there's a lot of other things that we can touch as well. I speak for a long time, but whenever you want, man, I'm super down for this.
Definitely. Thank you very much and
of
have
course.
a nice day.